Hey folks, this is the Views Expressed live right here on the Free America Radio Network for the 12th of May, 2014. How are ya? Go to Free America Radio on Facebook. I have a few articles up there that you might want to check out. How was your Mother's Day, all you mothers out there? And happy late Mother's Day to those I did not say Happy Mother's Day to. Not that you're my mother, but it's always nice to recognize the person that brought you into this world, okay? It works that way, okay? Anyway. Free America Radio on Facebook. Excuse me. FoxNews.com, thousands of convicted criminals freed while awaiting deportation proceedings. Also from LibertyNews.com is another Bundy-type confrontation brewing over Western land use. Interesting. Also from 21stCenturyWire.com, Jewish hate groups carry out price tag attacks on Christians in Israel. Also from ConspiracyWatch.org, massive troop and war machine movements being reported by citizens all across America. And for anybody who has had a backyard farm with critters and plants and food and you name it, specifically in Michigan, Alternet.org says, bizarre. Why is Michigan government trying to derail Detroit area's urban farming movement? Also from secretsofthefed.com, leaked video of missile hitting Pentagon on 9/11. Why is that significant? I'll get into that later. From RenewAmerica.com, Supreme Court Justice agrees First Amendment limits only Congress. He'll be out of a job in 6 months. Also from Nancy Riley on Facebook. The Obama administration says Cliven Bundy owes upwards to $1 million in past due grazing fees, breaks out the militarized BLM on his ranch and begins seizing his cattle. Al Sharpton owes the IRS $2.5 million in back taxes, rubs shoulders with Obama and Holder. Whoever says there's two Americas is correct. Think about that one, folks. Also from Mark Dice, FBI plans to charge Bundy protesters with weapons violations. Can't do that. FBI is not the judge, jury, and executioner of any law whatsoever in America. They are only there to protect America. Anyway, lots going on. I want to say hello to Mr. Bob Brutus over at WakingUpTheMasses.com, where we are broadcasting live on the Waking Up the Masses radio network, also on 1610 AM in the Chickamauga, Georgia area. And you could always go to freeamericaradio.us, check it out. Before the next catastrophe hits, and there's some tornadoes and a lot of wind going up there in the Midwest, up near Michigan and such, even probably some in your area, you might want to get some emergency food supplies. Go to freeamericaradio.us, click on the emergency food supply link, and get yours today, please. Yes, what that does is helps Free America Radio get to the next level. Free America Radio is listener supported, so whatever you can do to help us get to the next level, awesome. Thank you very much. Appreciate your support. I shall return right after this. This is Reverend Wayne S. Pierce from the Free America Radio Network. Prepare yourself for the unexpected. Have an emergency food supply available when you need it. You never know when the next power outage or natural disaster will happen. Are you prepared when it does? Go to Free America Radio Network website and click on the Store tab and get your emergency food supply now. Go to freeamericaradio.us. A natural disaster could happen at any time. Be prepared. Go to freeamericaradio.us and click on the Store tab to get your emergency food supply today. That's freeamericaradio.us and click on the Store tab and prepare in case something happens. Listen to the Diana and Wayne's Grab Bag Potpourri Talk Show, Friday nights at 8 p.m. Pacific, 11 p.m. Eastern, right here on Spreaker.com.
Sharing the truth one fact at a time. This is the Free America Radio Network.
Hey folks, this is the Free America Radio Network right here. And you're listening to the Views Expressed Live. I am your host, Reverend Wayne S. Pierce, for the 12th of May, 2014. It's May already, folks. I hope you had a great Mother's Day yesterday. You wouldn't be here without your mama, so you better go take her out to dinner or something if you didn't yesterday. Mama had to put up with you. So, happy belated Mother's Day to all you mothers out there. Go to Free America Radio on Facebook. I got to say this, okay? I have to say this because it is important that people understand how vital it is to get the word out about who's behind the curtain, pushing the buttons and pulling the handles. Your life depends on it, folks. There's no question about that. The Georgia Guidestones and Mr. Bob Brutus over there at Waking Up the Masses can tell you more about that. The Georgia Guidestones say that there should only be 500 million people on the planet. Ted Turner, Bill Gates, and a few others have said that, yes, they want to depopulate the world. And I think they're doing a pretty good job at it with all the vaccines that cause all sorts of neurological problems like Guillain-Barré and all that stuff, and even autism. British doctors have already verified this. Don't tell me they don't, because they do. Okay, period. That's why I haven't been vaccinated, and I won't. You got the chemtrails in the air. You got all that. British and other scientists have even said, yes, those are chemtrails. They're deadly chemicals. Look it up yourself, folks, if you don't believe me. Also, fluoride in the water. It's there. It was the water at the Nazi death camps in the 30s and 40s where the water was there, and they were, really subduing those prisoners. Okay? So I don't want to hear any more about it. I really don't. And if I've overlooked something, I'm okay. It doesn't mean I'm wrong. It just means I overlooked something that I should have paid attention to. So I don't want to hear it. The skeptics, the naysayers, bye-bye. Have a nice day. Enjoy. Because I'm done with you folks, okay? The people that want to know, that genuinely have questions and want to seek this stuff out themselves and understand what's going on, please listen, but question everything I say because, hey, only you can find the truth for you. I mean, I can give you the guidelines, the books, the websites, the people, the names, the places, the dates. You're the one that's going to have to go figure the rest of it out. If I tell you I don't know, then I don't know. I don't have all the answers, folks, but I got enough answers to give you, some sort of clue so you can go out and help yourself out to the information that's out there. I may have missed something. I may have overlooked something. Please share that with me. I'd love to hear from you. Free America Radio at USA.com. Free America Radio at USA.com. There's a lot of stuff going on, and we all need to know who's who, what's what, and why are they doing it. Okay, I think I've established why, but we need to make sure that we stop them from decimating this world of human life. Now, I even said myself that is the New World Order going to happen? Is this one world government going to happen? Well, I've talked to a lot of people. I've researched a lot of areas. And I got to tell you, it'll happen. But if we can beat the crap out of them before they even get a stronger foothold in our lives, I'm pretty sure something's going to change, and it sure as the hell ain't going to be us. Okay? So, anyway, Free America Radio on Facebook. Report from FoxNews.com. Thousands of convicted criminals freed while awaiting deportation proceedings. What? Hey, if I kind of glitch and sound kind of weird, I opened my other browser, so it's kind of like, okay. I may close it because I was trying something during the break, and you can tell, you can hear it. Thousands of convicted criminals freed while awaiting deportation hearings. The Obama administration released thousands of convicted criminals, including murderers and those convicted of sexual assault, while they were awaiting deportation proceedings, according to a new report. The Center of Immigration Studies, a Washington-based advocacy group, released the statistics on Monday in its latest bid to draw attention to what analysts with the organization say are lax enforcement practices by the Obama administration. The numbers show that in 2013, Immigration and Customs Enforcement released 36,007, quote, convicted criminal aliens, unquote, while they were waiting for the outcome of their deportation cases. They represented a total of 88,000 convictions. The majority of the cases involved individuals convicted of lower-level or nonviolent offenses like auto theft, drunk driving, drug charges, but many were involved in more serious cases. According to the report, 88,000 convictions included 193 homicide convictions, 426 sexual assault convictions, 303 kidnapping convictions, and more than 1,000 aggravated assault convictions. Jessica Vaughn, the group's director of policy studies, said in a statement she was astonished by the figures, referring to an ongoing Department of Homeland Security review of deportation policies. She said, any, quote, further relaxation of enforcement, unquote, would be, quote, unquote, hard to justify in light of the statistics. Quote, Congress should resist further action on immigration reform until the public can be assured that enforcement is more robust and ICE can better deal with its criminal alien caseload without setting them free in our communities, unquote, she added. The individuals in question were reportedly released on bond or parole under various other alternatives to detention while awaiting processing. The same organization that published the data put out a separate report more than a month ago that showed ICE agents were opting not to deport thousands of criminal aliens. These are separate from cases detailed in this latest study. According to that prior report, ICE released 68,000 foreign nationals in 2013 who either had criminal convictions or charges against them. Immigration and Customs Enforcement, though, accused CIS of distorting the numbers and claimed that some of them could represent minor offenses. Further, the agency said a total of 216,000 quote-unquote convicted criminals were removed in 2013. Where are these people, folks? Huh? Where are these people? You know, I often wonder. I wasn't wondering. I often wonder, would it be better to just open the borders and let everybody in, or to close the borders and isolate ourselves off from certain, let's just say, nefarious characters? Well, in my book, from my perspective, I think we need to protect the border a hell of a lot more. That means you people down in Southern California, New Mexico, Arizona, and Texas better lock and load and get to the border. Now, I know your governor ain't going to like that, but I don't care. This country is yours. And all you're doing is protecting them and their investments in your particular states. And by allowing the illegal aliens to come over here, they're going to commit crimes like crazy. They're going to take your jobs. They're going to, here, a statistic, and I don't know how accurate it is, but I saw this statistic. Now, for every one illegal alien that comes over here, or no, the other way around. For every 2 illegal aliens come over here, you lose your job. Because why are people paying you $8, $9, $10, $11, $12, $13, $14, $15 an hour when the company can hire 2 people at $7 or $8 an hour? They're still spending money, but they're hiring more people, and most of these companies don't register these people. There's a whole litany of things that these companies don't do. They don't enforce the law. They're not constitutional. They don't tell the authorities that there's illegals here. The only people that do it, from what I've seen so far, is the casinos here in Reno, Nevada. Okay, they look at everything, okay? Even, they looked at me, and I was born here in the United States, you know? So, yeah. So what do we do? Where do we draw the line and just say enough's enough? Where do we look at the Mexican government and go, can we just shut the damn border because we're tired of you people coming over here? And it's not so much a racist or prejudicial thing. You know what it is? What part of the United States is broke don't these people understand? We're $18 trillion in debt. We're not going to give you freebies. Oh, wait, hold on. Taxpayers don't want to give you freebies, but the federal government out of Washington, D.C. doesn't care. Okay, they'll give you whatever it is you want. Somebody once told me that's not true, that illegal aliens don't get free stuff. Really? Then, yeah, okay. Yeah, sure. Right. Tell me another story. They don't get free stuff. That's a bunch of bullcrap. We know they do. Not everybody. They're come over here. If I wanted to go be a citizen of Canada, I'd have to have a sponsor or a job over there before I even cross the border, okay? I've already looked into it. Trust me, it's a pain in the ass, okay? What we need to do is we need to close the southern border all across that area and just say, here's what you're going to do. You're going to go in the back of the line. You're going to do what you need to do. And if your government doesn't allow you to do that, you guys got to fight for your own independence because we sure the hell ain't going to do it for you. That's prejudice. Why don't you like Mexicans? I got friends of every race, creed, and religion that you can think of, folks. I'm friends with a whole lot of people, and I guarantee you they feel the same way. Did you see the statistic of legal immigrants that are here? And I say that, legal immigrants, not aliens. Legal immigrants from everywhere, not just Mexico, are pissed off that there are people from Mexico coming over here illegally to get jobs. Did you see that statistic at one point? It's amazing. It's just amazing. Here we are. Here we are, a nation that prior to 1871, we were doing really, really well. Okay? We were doing really well. It was primitive, and, we didn't have the internet back then. But we were doing really well. We had a civil war. We had a war of independence, civil war, Mexican, all this. We had all this stuff going on. But I got to tell you, the thing that really, when you look back at all of that prior to 1871, and you see how everything was happening, okay, how everything was moving, how everything was working together for the betterment of society of that time, you have to really admit that there was a much better time to to be alive, because you had to work. You had to take care of your family. There was no living off the system. There was nothing like that. Excuse me. You had to work. And if you could not find work in that area that you lived, you went elsewhere. Okay? So, what did you do? Here it is 200 and some odd years later, and people are getting freebies from the government. Why? The Act of 1871. Basically it. I mean, think about it. The United States became a corporation, and all of a sudden it's like, well, let's just give people stuff. What? Well, it wasn't that simple, and it probably wasn't, like that. But it worked up to the point of enslaving the working poor. And that's my point. The working poor in this country suffer by the hands and the policies of the 1%. And the 3% are sitting there going, excuse me, we need to get these people out of office so that we can have America back. And the rest of the people after the 3%ers are saying, yeah, that's true. How can we do this? And then the 1% sends out their army, the standing army they have, the DHS, the BLM, and all that, to take your land, to take everything you have, so that you have nothing. Okay? I mean, think about it. Think about this, first of all, folks. Just think about this. Here we were. Okay? Here we were. We were in war prior to the Civil War. Okay? The Mexican-American War of 1846 to 1848. 13 years later, we had a civil war in the United States, the North against the South. It lasted 4 years, 1861 to 1865. And when you look back on the Mexican-American War, President James Polk was, he was president of it. What'd he do, Says here in my little my little phone here, it says, the Mexican-American War, it pitted a politically divided and militarily unprepared Mexico against the expansionist-minded administration of the U.S. President James K. Polk, who believed the United States had a manifest destiny to spread across the continent to the Pacific Ocean. A border skirmish along the Rio Grande started off the fighting and was followed by a series of U.S. victories. When the dust cleared, Mexico had lost about one-third of its territory, including nearly all of the present-day California, Utah, Nevada, Arizona, and New Mexico. We kicked butt. To do what? And we were expanding at that time to the west. Consider this, folks. The Mexican-American War, 1846 to 1848. Guess what was found in California in 1849? And the rest is history. Okay? So what's this big deal about, about kicking the Mexicans out of here? Well, my point is this. We don't play nice with people. Should we? Not when they come over here and take our stuff. No. Now, if they want to come over here and be legal immigrants, I'm all for that. I'll meet them at the border, shake their hand, and we'll go off to Disneyland or something and have fun. You know what I mean? I don't mind that at all. Do it legally. Okay? I don't mind people coming here looking for a better life. Hell, our ancestors came from, all over the freaking world and came here, okay, for a better life. But do it legally and peacefully. And the Mexican army better understand one very vital, important thing, folks. We can kick their ass. That's just the way it is. I'm putting it out there. You get over 100,000 pissed off citizens of the United States on the southern border. That Mexican army is not going to be having a good day. Okay? I'm just saying. Now, I say that and I segue into the fact that last week it was reported that Mexican military crossed the border. And it is known from past reports that the Mexican military helps the drug cartels get their coyotes over here and get their people over here to distribute the drugs on your taxpayer dime. Okay, it's not freaking rocket science here, folks. It's real simple math. You got to put two and two together. You'll see the answer. Follow the money. Connect the dots. You'll see who's supporting the Mexican military. Indirectly, but still. So what's the big push about, immigration, comprehensive immigration reform? They now have Mexicans and a delegate in Washington, D.C., some delegates and a group telling the President of the United States to sign an executive order to declare amnesty. Excuse me, you know what that means? Let me translate that for you. That means open the damn borders so they can come in. That's what that means. Now, don't get me wrong. Like I said before, you want to do it legally, please do. Okay? But if you're going to build tunnels under the border or drive trucks over the border or walk over the border or sneak over the border or have Mexican military help you get across the border, Anytime a military personnel from another country crosses the border into the U.S., it is declaration of war. Period. And if the Mexican government doesn't like that, I really don't give a crap. Okay? Now, I know I sound bitter, but I'm not. I'm realistic. Think about it. If you wanted to go to another country, you would either have to get a sponsor or sign the papers to go over and live in that country. Would you not? You would have to have a job over there. Would you not? I mean, seriously, folks. Get real here. We're being invaded not only by the criminals out of Washington, D.C., but out of the, Mexican army crossing the border, allowing all that crap to happen. But that's in the state-run media. And my question to you is this. I said it before and I'll say it again. What do you want to believe? Seriously. So, think about this, folks. Think about this. You got the keys to your future. Where do you want to go? I'll be back right after this. Want to know what's happening all around us? You do. Great! Come check out the Diana and Wayne's Grab Bag Potpourri Talk Show, Friday nights at 7 p.m. Pacific, 10 p.m. Eastern, right here on Spreaker.com. Have a nice trip. See you next fall. Attending their daughter's wedding in South Africa promised to be a vacation of a lifetime. But first, they had to face the treacherous gauntlet known as modern-day travel. Waiting for them on the other side of the world are an honest-to-goodness safari with amorous lions and elephants with anger issues, a life-affirming visit to a South African school, and an anxious bride and groom standing patiently at the airport with a sign that reads, "What took you so long?" The answers lie within the pages of Please Hold Thumbs, a not-so-round trip to South Africa, a true tale of turbulence and triumph from travel mug Scott Cherney, author of Red Asphalt. Available at Amazon.com in paperback and on the Kindle.
This is Michael Vera with Late Night in the Midlands, and you're listening to the views expressed live with your host, Reverend Wayne Pierce, on the Free America Radio Network.
Hey folks, how you doing? 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 Hey, smile. Yeah, I know it's Monday. Nobody wants to smile on a Monday. It's Monday. What the hell you smile for? Yeah. You know you're having a bad day on a Monday when you get to work and go, man, is it Friday yet? You ever been there? You ever done that? I know I have many times. Get to work on Monday, you're like, what? What? I just did this last week. What's going on? Yeah, so anyway. Hey, you got a question? I got an answer, hopefully. Email me, freeamericaradio@usa.com, freeamericaradio@usa.com. Hey, I want to make a correction. You heard the promo there for the Grab Bag Show, Diana and Wayne's Grab Bag Potpourri Talk Show. Yeah, just remember Grab Bag Show. It's easier that way. Fridays, 8 p.m. Pacific, 11 p.m. Eastern. 8 p.m. Pacific, 11 p.m. Eastern. You can go to grabbagshow.weebly.com for more information and to listen to the show live if you like, or come to Spreaker and look for Diana and Wayne's Grab Bag Potpourri Talk Show. So anyway, there you go. Go to Free America Radio. Free America Radio on Facebook, if you would, please. Hey, if I sound like I'm doing that, that kind of stuff, that's because I'm scrolling through here. And, yeah, every once in a while it does that when the bandwidth is a little low. Anyway, from libertynews.com, as soon as I get whatever I got in there out, is another Bundy-type confrontation brewing over Western land use. This is from Norvell Rose from libertynews.com, today's news. First, it was the Bureau of Land Management, the BLM, that flexed its military-style muscle against rancher Cliven Bundy in Nevada. Now it's another agency of the federal government, the U.S. Forest Service, that's threatening to cut off water needed by cattle in Otero County, New Mexico. Yeah, think about this, folks. The Washington Times is reporting that the Forest Service wants to fence off a creek in the drought-stricken New Mexico County. Why? According to reports, the move would protect the habitat for the New Mexico meadow jumping mouse. First it's turtles, now it's mice. Anyway, the Otero County Sheriff said he worries that the increasingly tense situation could erupt into a Nevada-style confrontation between federal agents and the ranchers whose cattle relies on the water from the creek Can't speak today, folks. Otero County officials are not taking the feds' cutoff threat lying down. The county commission is scheduled to meet today to discuss whether to order the sheriff to open the gates against the wishes of Forest Service officials. Now, I want to say this. I want to make this perfectly clear. Hands off our lands. It's my message to the feds. Hands off our lands. We have a God-given right to protect our property, and our property begins where we put our foot. And if you don't like it, hey, tough. Yeah. I don't know, folks. I mean, again, what do you want to believe? Do you want to believe the the federal government? Oh, I heard a collective no on that one. Do you want to believe your neighbors next door? Do you have, or is there an opportunity for you to learn about what's happening in your city? In other words, oh yeah, everything's running fine. The water company's doing a thing. The power company, yeah, they're fine. I'm okay. Folks, no, you're not. No, you're not. Okay? What's going on behind the scenes and what you're not being shown is what's going to drive you into bankruptcy. Okay? So what you need to do is you need to do your homework. You need to go out and talk to these people. You need to call up the sheriff's office. You need to call up City Hall. You need to call up the mayor and say, hey, I'm concerned, okay? I'm concerned here. You know, and of course, you know full well they're going to try to pull the wool over your eyes by giving you some poor, lame excuse. Listen for three things. This is neuro-linguistic programming, NLP. They'll say words or phrases such as what you hear on CNN or Fox or NBC. They'll tell you on the phone or to your face, we're doing everything we can to remedy the situation. That is directly one of the things out of the book of neuro-linguistic programming. We're doing everything we can to remedy the situation. Remember that. They'll tell you that phrase. Okay? The other thing to remember is if you were looking at them and you're standing in front of them and you're asking them questions, remember their body language. Okay? Remember their body language. All right? Just watch what they do. If you don't know anything about body language, go read about it. It only probably takes you a minute or two to really, get the basics down. The third thing you need to remember is if you're talking to them on the phone, again, remember the first phrase I told you. When you're talking to them on the phone, listen to what I call form speech. Okay? Form speech. You know, you get those form letters in the mail? You get these form letters. You know what form letters are, right? Listen how they structure their sentences and listen to how they convey their concerns to you. It's almost as if, A, they've either rehearsed it because they knew people were going to call, or B, they're reading it off a script. So think about that one. That's a lot to remember and a lot to take in, I know. But this will save your life and the lives of your family. Segueing into something else. Oh, shoot. Let me do this. I was just looking at some of the technical issues on my DJ console here. Yeah, I better not open a tab on my browser or I go off. You won't hear me anymore. 21stcenturywire.com. You can click on that link on Free America Radio on Facebook. Jewish hate groups carry out quote-unquote price tag attacks on Christians in Israel. Although reported by the Israeli press, this disturbing trend was initially ignored by the U.S. and European media. But following the announcement of a papal visit to the Holy Land, some U.S. press outlets have begun to mention this incredibly embarrassing development. Much to the dismay of Israelis and the powerful Jewish lobby in Washington, D.C., the U.S. State Department have been issuing travel warnings now regarding extremist Jewish hate groups in Israel. AFP reports how Israelis are angry that such warnings have been posted on a U.S. government website. Quote, Israeli police on Thursday challenged Washington's inclusion of Jewish extremist attacks on Palestinians in a global terror report, saying such incidents could not be likened to militant attacks. For the first time, the State Department's 2013 Country Reports on Terrorism, published Wednesday, included a reference to a growing wave of racist anti-Palestinian vandalism, euphemistically known as, quote-unquote, price tag attacks. Quote, attacks by extremist Israeli settlers against Palestinians. The U.S. report noted that, quote, the UN Office of the Coordinator of Humanitarian Affairs reported 399 attacks by extremists and Israeli settlers that resulted in Palestinian injuries or property damage. Violent extremists, including Israeli settlers, vandalized 5 mosques and 3 churches in Jerusalem and the West Bank, unquote. Defining price tag attacks as property crimes and violent acts by extremist Jewish individuals and groups in retaliation for activity they deemed to be anti-settlement, unquote. The report said that over the year, the phenomenon had spread into Israel from the occupied West Bank. Attacks on Palestinian residents, property, places of worship in the West Bank continued and were largely unprosecuted, the report said, citing UN and NGO data. Because of the upcoming scheduled visit by Pope Francis to Israel, the issue has finally popped up in the U.S. media yesterday. The Washington Post reports, quote, Catholic leaders in Jerusalem are increasingly concerned that an apparent uptick in nationalistic hate crimes by Jewish extremists against Christians and Muslims could mar the upcoming visit of Pope Francis. On Friday, for the second time this week, anti-Christian graffiti was discovered on a church in Jerusalem. It follows a similar incident Monday at the Notre Dame Center, a complex in Jerusalem owned by the Vatican. The defacements come after more than 20 major hate crimes in the past few months have targeted Christian and Muslim communities here. The Romanian Orthodox Church I don't know how to pronounce that name, folks. You can go to Free America Radio and click on the link there from 21stcenturywire.com. The Romanian church in Jerusalem was defaced overnight, Thursday and Friday, yet another suspected price tag hate crime attack, police said Friday, in the latest incident in a wave of both anti-Christian and anti-Arab graffiti and vandalism that has swept the country in recent weeks. The words price tag and Jesus is garbage and King David for the Jews were found spray painted on the site's walls. Church members returned from a trip to Ben Gurion Airport around 1 a.m. to find the graffiti written on the side of the St. George's Church facing Hahoma Hashilit, I think that's how you pronounce it, street. A Romanian nun who preferred anonymity said. She added that relations with their neighbors in a predominantly ultra-Orthodox neighborhood were usually good. Alongside the Romanian church are also a small community of Polish Catholic and American Christians. It is an act of extremists, the nun said. The offensive graffiti was covered up shortly after the discovery. 2 years ago, in October of 2012, the Romanian Orthodox building was attacked in a similar fashion, prompting condemnation from Foreign Minister Avigdor Lieberman. On another street in Jerusalem, "Death to Arabs" graffiti was found written in a marker on an electric box, Israel Radio reported Friday. An investigation was opened into the incidents, according to police, and units are searching for suspects. Quote-unquote price tag refers to vandalism and other hate crimes usually carried out by Jewish ultranationalists in retaliation for government policies against the settler movement. Mosques, churches, dovish Israeli groups, and even Israeli military bases have been targeted by nationalist vandals in recent years. The acts have been condemned by Israeli leaders across the political spectrum. So, do they have a handle on it? Do they have a handle on it? Have they come down or even curbed some of these places? What have they done? See? And as I was reading that, my thought was, can you say false flag? Because it could be done by members of some group that is funded by the CIA or FBI or something. Because it's been known, it's on record that they do that. So what do we do? Okay? What do we do? You see, I'm not against the Israeli people, and I'm not for the Palestinians, and I'm not against the Palestinians, and I'm not for the Israeli people. You know what I'm for? Peace. So is everybody else, apparently, but I'm for the people of Palestine. I'm for the people of Israel. I'm for the people, like you and I, man. Running businesses, having kids, babysitting, that kind of. I am for those people that are just trying to live peacefully in a country that is on the edge of, blowing itself up. Israel has nuclear weapons, right? So anyway, how do we, as Americans, or let me put it this way, how can we, as human beings, watch as other human beings are being totally devastated and, pretty much blown up out of their own countries? But then again, bring it back to the United States. That's happening here. You don't hear about the atrocities of Muslim jihadists and stuff like that. Not all Muslims are bad. I have friends of every race, creed, and religion that you can think of. But things like that happen. And how are we just sitting here and doing nothing? How are we, looking at humanitarian efforts for other people, but yet we see these pictures of people getting their heads cut off, children being, burned up, and women getting acid thrown on their face? How can we sit here and allow this to happen? Well, somebody made a good point, and I can't remember verbatim what it was, but the point was, it seems that we are a hypocritical country. That's my words. But the concept of what I've read earlier from somebody who posted something said literally, look at our history. What did we do? Our ancestors came over to this country in the 1400s, 1500s, whatever it was, right? Came over here and did what? What did we do? Okay? We killed a lot of people and took the land. Kind of like what Israel's doing to Palestine, isn't it? So, no wonder the government here is friends with Israel. Again, I'm for the people that run their shops, the people that support their family, the people that grow a garden. I'm for those people who want peace, freedom, and liberty wherever they live. But unfortunately, they have a government that is, well, let's just say Rothschild funded. Follow the money, connect the dots. Okay? It never fails, people. Let me break this down in simple speak for you. You got a friend. And, of course, you got a lot of friends, I'm assuming. But let's just say this one friend comes over to your house. You know, and they're okay to begin with. They're like, yeah, hey, you know, we can go do this, blah, 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 like that. And then all of a sudden one day he comes over and his whole tune changes. His whole attitude changes. You know, he walks into your kitchen and says, my God, this kitchen's ugly. And goes out to his car, brings in a can of paint, and starts painting over your wallpaper. I'm just saying, okay? What are you going to do? Whoa. What are you doing painting my walls that I just put wallpaper up on? What? Wait a minute. Oh, this sucks. And we need to do this. And I got a friend and we can come over and we can change this. We can take this cabinet out and move it. Whoa. Listen up. This isn't this old house, okay? And you just can't come in here and change everything that you think is wrong. Okay? You have a God-given right to kick his ass, okay? That's just the way it is. You got to protect your stuff. So this asshat comes in and starts changing everything. Wait. Hold on. You can't do that. Do you see where this is headed? In Jerusalem? And the government based in Jerusalem? Do you understand what Israel is doing to Palestine? I'm no fan of the Palestinian people either. I'm not the people, the government. Government to government. I'm no fan of the Israeli government. I'm no fan of the Palestinian government. The people I'm a fan of, the hard-working store owners and people that are trying to make a living. But those numbnuts that are up there in those capitals trying to, stir things up. But again, you have to connect the dots. You got to follow the money. Who profits from those two countries fighting one another? Can you say the Rothschilds and the Rockefellers? Well, now it's not so much them, but they are the receiver of the rewards of the loot of the booty. It's the corporations. Why don't you go look at Israel and Palestine? Look at that particular area. And then span out about 10 miles or 15 miles or 20 miles. And you tell me where the oil wells are. You tell me where the mineral mines are. You tell me what's around that whole area. Think about it, folks. Corporations run the United States as of 1871. We no longer have a sovereign country where you and I can just go outside and plant a garden to feed our family anymore. No. Nowadays, the EPA, the city, the county will come in and go, well, you can't do that here and this, and you got to. And by the time they overregulate you and tax you to oblivion, you can't do a damn thing. We need to get these jackasses out of our homes. By the way, folks, did you pay your property tax this year? No. Did you? Let me tell you exactly where that money is. You're renting your grass on your yard from the federal government. You're leasing your property every year. It's property tax, folks. What if you're renting a house? Your landlord has to pay all that. I should know. My mom and dad rent out a couple of homes. Your landlord has to pay all that. Okay? Imagine if you're renting a house from someone. Just imagine this for a minute. You're renting a house from someone and you plant a garden in your backyard. You got corn, you got, tomatoes, you got potatoes, you got carrots, you got all. And the landlord comes over and says, oh, wait, you're growing, what? No, wait, you can't do that. What do you mean? Well, it's in your lease right here. It's in your lease agreement. Really? And you read your lease agreement. And you prove to him that, well, I don't see anything in here that says I can't grow a garden to feed myself. Bet you a bottom dollar he's going to bring in a lawyer. That's if the guy was an asshat, okay? Some people just allow you to just do, yeah, it's your home, do whatever, But then again, the county doesn't want you to do it. The city doesn't want you to do it. The state doesn't want you to do it. The feds don't want you to do it. You know why? The government hates competition. The government hates competition. Did you notice that? Have you noticed how competitive the government is? They hate competition. Can you see them on a baseball field with the other team, and there's like not only the normal 9 players, but you have like 3 or 4 people on the field, making sure that no one gets their own team, the government team, out at any of the bases? The game is rigged, folks. Do you understand me? The game is rigged. You're being screwed, blued, tattooed, duped in just nth degree, and the whole system is rigged against you. That is my whole point, folks. They overregulate and overtax you to do one thing and one thing only: to bankrupt you so that you can get on their system so they can tell you what to do, when to do it, why to do it, and how to do it. And then they want you to pay them. How freaking insane is that crap? Seriously. Okay? Seriously. All right? I don't know. I'm curious here. I'm just curious. And I need your input on this, but I'm curious. How would you fare in a situation where you were growing your own garden at home? Okay? How would you fare with that? Would it be something that would work for you? Or has it in the past? I'm just curious. Just curious. Hey, folks. Taking the top of the hour break here. Going to be, 5-minute break. Go do what you got to do, because if you got to do it, well, yeah, go do it. Go take care of it. Email me, freeamericaradio@usa.com, freeamericaradio@usa.com. The website is freeamericaradio.us.
Late Night in the Midlands is an alternative media that covers the truth, theory, and fact that the lamestream media won't talk about. We cover everything from the known and the unknown, the normal and the paranormal, the government lies and the government ties, and even their thrive. We tell what's coming, what's going, whether it be politics or archaeologists. We have an amazing fan base, and our shows are all archived to be heard millions of times more. So tell your friends, your family, and anybody you care about LateNightInTheMidlands.com. Become a member and be informed.
Get your morning started with the Morning Brew on 92.6 The Blitz. Music from the 60s, 70s, and more. The Blitz 92.6. Go to radiorocktheblitz.blogspot.com.
Free Talk Live.
You give someone an ounce of liberty and they'll go around abusing it and harming everyone else with it.
If we legalize guns...
People will be shooting people everywhere.
Right.
If you legalize prostitution, people will be having sex on the street corners. If you legalize drugs, we'll have heroin vending machines in the streets. We've heard it all on Free Talk Live. They take it to the most absurd, illogical extremes, and you're absolutely right, Alexander. It's okay for them to have freedom.
Yeah, you can give them a gun. They won't go around shooting people. But watch out with their neighbor, because you give them a gun, they'll go around in a rampage around the city killing everyone.
But yes, they can be trusted, and apparently the government can be trusted too, because magically, we only elect the best of the best, the cream of the crop. The bureaucrats that are administering these programs are the upper echelon of society, the most trustworthy individuals.
Oh, yeah. Sometimes when I squint, I swear I can see a halo above their heads.
Free Talk Live, 7 nights a week from 7 to 10 Eastern, live on the Liberty Radio Network at LRN.FM.
Are you tired of the mainstream media? The media that is so biased, you wouldn't even let your dog listen to it? Well, there's an answer. Angel Club.
On RadioFreedom.us.
Just listen to her fans.
One hell of a writer. I've read a considerable amount of her articles and quite impressed.
Until Angel, my life was void of meaning.
I want to thank you for saving my goldfish from drowning.
I love Angel Clark's honesty and her down-to-earth concern about the people.
She is very dedicated.
Angel, we need you.
This Angel's a sexy woman. I think she's going to go places, but I don't know where.
Ladies and gentlemen, she does a good job.
If it wasn't for Angel,
you saved his life, and I will be indebted to you forever.
SussexCountyAngel.com. Be a part of Angel's Army.
Monday through Friday, 7 to 9 p.m. on RadioFreedom.us.
Free Talk Live.
Do you guys have a zombie plan? I'm just wondering what this country's going to do if we had some sort of apocalypse like that.
Like a zombie attack.
Do?
People coming out of the ground, like in Thriller, like in Michael Jackson's
like 28
Thriller.
days later, like a virus or something.
Oh, okay.
I mean, people don't come back to life.
Well, no, there are different kinds of zombies out there.
Now,
but let me go through the types of zombies. I mean, you've got the ones that can crawl out of the ground, right? And then she was talking about like an infection kind of zombie, like a la Resident Evil, for instance. So ideally, if you're going to have to perish at the hands of a zombie, which would be the preference? Would you prefer to have your brains eaten, or would you prefer to become one of them?
I think I'd rather just die. The last thing I'd want is, of course, the people you split up with. Then I'm talking my wife and my child. I'm coming back. I'm wanting to eat Laura's brains. It's bad. It's bad.
Free Talk Live, 7 nights a week from 7 to 10 Eastern, live on the Liberty Radio Network at LRN.FM. What does freedom mean? Tune in to LRN.FM to find out. LRN.FM is the Liberty Radio Network, a collection of live talk radio and podcasts, all coming from a principled pro-liberty perspective. LRN.FM show hosts aren't left, right, or conspiracy kooks. You can tune in 24/7 to LRN.FM via your phone, computer, satellite, and more. Listen free anytime at LRN.FM. That's LRN.FM.
Hey, folks, this is the views expressed live right here on the Free America Radio Network for the 12th of May, 2014. Yes, how are ya? You doing good? Are you doing good? I mean, seriously, come on. It's Monday. How was your day at work? Did you have a good Mother's Day yesterday? Awesome. Be nice to Mama, because if it wasn't for her, you wouldn't be here. Okay? Just saying. Just putting it out there, folks. Hey, go to Free America Radio on Facebook. Scroll on down, you'll see from conspiracywatch.org massive troop and war machine movements being reported by citizens all across America. I got word from, well, I'll just say this, from California, that there was a train going through town, and on this train was a lot of military hardware. Military vehicles, I mean, you name it. Okay? Now, I also know that there's something going on in Northern California. I don't have specific validation for that, but I know that there is something happening. And I did get word about that at, I believe it was Travis Air Force Base up near Sacramento. So I don't know specifics, but I see the gears rolling, if you know what I mean. So as far as I know, I feel as if, as you all know, we're being lied to every step of the way. From conspiracywatch.org, massive troop and war vehicle movements reported by citizens all across America. Thousands of heavy war vehicles are being moved across America. There's a photo there. The photo above is just one example of pictures being taken by concerned citizens across the entire U.S. of massive troop movements. The particular picture shows a lineup of U.S. military armored vehicles on the Huey P. Long Bridge over Mississippi River in Jefferson Parish, Louisiana. It shows a huge number of military vehicles being transported towards New Orleans. Where are all those armored vehicles headed? What are they planning to do with them? This is a lot of firepower. This comes just days after multiple sightings of black helicopters throughout the United States. The video below, there's a video, has attracted plenty of attention. And with its 1.2 million views to date, plenty of outrage. So you can read that rest of that article there. Now, I do have a question, though. I want to make sure that I get, your perspective on all of this, because, I want to know, really. And I want to know. And you can email me at freeamericaradio@usa.com, freeamericaradio@usa.com. I want to know what's going on. I want pictures, I want video, I want all of that. As a matter of fact, here, let me give you another address. You can probably send all that stuff to. Free America Radio at unseen.is. Free America Radio at unseen.is. One more time, just so you'll have it. Free America Radio at unseen.is. There's a lot going on, folks. I'd like to know what's going on in your area. Okay? From secretsofthefed.com, a leaked video of missile hitting Pentagon on 9/11. I want to go check that out. Okay. Now, what significance does 9/11/2001 have on the 12th of May, 2014? That's where it all started, folks. Well, it started before that. It started under the Clinton administration. It also started a little bit under the Reagan administration, way back in the 80s. But it has culminated in the Patriot Act, the NDAA, and all that. So what do? What do we do? I mean, it's real simple. I said the whole system is rigged, folks, and it is. Everything that we do politically, let me back up just a bit. What they are showing us politically is straight out of the Corporation 101 handbook. This is how you do this. And what we're being told is everything's fine. Go about your day. You'll be fine. And it's not fine, folks. Let me back up just a sec and say this. That if you or I'm going to use me as an example on this one. If I had a corporation and it was pretty profitable, one day, profits started going down. One day, the profits began to dwindle. Had to lay off some folk, do what I had to do to keep my head above water. All of a sudden, crash. Company goes bankrupt. Where would that leave me? Depending, it would leave me penniless, wouldn't it? Not with the United States of America. Or should I say United States Incorporated. No. You got a company. It's got, its big name. It's, the elites own several holding companies that own corporations that own you. And if those companies get, let's just say, in hot water, the country bails them out. The taxpayer bails them out. 2008, George Bush signed that, what was it, $867 billion bailout? Hell, I would have let the car companies fail. I would have let the banks fail. Hey, Bernie Madoff went to jail. I would have let it all fail. Why? So we can rebuild it the right way. Rebuild it on principles that work, not this bull crap that we have now coming out of Washington, D.C. My point is, when you see stuff like this, for instance, troop and machine movements all over the war machine movements all over the United States. Excuse me. Or when you see videos, leaked videos of missile hitting Pentagon on 9/11. When you hear that the government is trying to derail Detroit area urban farming movement, it has nothing, it has everything to do with competition. Not so much in the missile hitting the Pentagon, but remember, September 10th, 2001, Rumsfeld said, I have no clue where $2.5 trillion went. Remember that? Of course, reports came out later on verifying that it was more like, $10 trillion or something? I don't know. It's way the hell up there. And what happens the next day? Kaboom! The part of the Pentagon where the computers are, where all that information is. Isn't that coincidental? Interesting. A woman by the name of April took her child to work that day in that same vicinity of that building and walked out of that massive hole in the side of the building after it exploded with her baby, the whole big hole. She walks out, grabs her baby, starts walking out. And her testimony says there were no plane parts there, folks. So as far as I'm concerned, the government is lying through their teeth, always have, always will, and will never stop until you and I start making changes. Oh, how are we going to do that? Well, interesting. Well, we can't vote. That's all rigged. Well, we do because people seem to think, oh, hey, that works. Did you know that... Did you know that only 46% of the people of the United States voted in this last 2012 election? I think it's 47%, something like that. That means almost 150 million people voted to have this man put back in office, and and nobody else did? Nobody else voted against it? Nobody else stood up and said, wait a minute, he's a freaking socialist. Why do you want him in the office? And why did people not say that about Reagan? Reagan was a self-avowed socialist. I mean, go back prior to him being governor of California. Look at his writings. Look at the people that talked to him, close to him. Think about it. 46% of the American population voted for this man to be president again. You guys must have some glutton for punishment thing going on. Or you're complete idiots. I don't know. I think my numbers are a little off. I think voting for both sides in the 2012 election was 46%. I think it was like 37 or something, or 37% of them were voting for this man to be back in office. Just looking out at the landscape of what's happening geopolitically, you can see why it's important to look back on 2001 and 9/11 to follow the money. Connect the dots, okay? Don't get into the minutia of, well, it was a hologram that hit the Twin Towers. It was this, it was that. No. You know what's more credible than any one of those? drjudywood.com. Where did the towers go? Go check out that book. Go check out that website, drjudywood.com. That seems a hell of a lot more credible than anybody else coming up with anything that they can say about it. Okay? Did people die? Yeah, because the government wanted collateral damage. What? The government? Yes, 9/11 was an inside job, folks. I believe it. A lot of people don't. But that's their perspective. They don't want to do the homework. They don't want to get smart about this stuff. Yeah, go ahead, grab your beer, sit down, watch ESPN. I just can't believe the government would do that. Well, I guess they said the same thing in the Roman Empire when they were bored as hell and needed something to do. Oh, yeah. So the government would tell some of the troops, hey, go, tear up that building and say it was, this other, part of the kingdom over there that came over and did it. We need something to do. I don't know, folks. I mean, you can say whatever you want. You can do whatever you want. Doesn't matter. I mean, you're free to say and do whatever it is you want to do, right? But if you don't do your homework, how are you going to protect your family, your friends, your county, your city, your state, your country? How are you going to make sure that these criminals in Washington, D.C. go to prison when they're out? Because that's where they're headed. And if they're not going to be directly involved in anything that goes on, which of course they are, but they're going to send out their pansies. I said it, the pansies. Pansy-ass little whiny bitches that are out there right now called the BLM. Okay? We're going to go and take this. What, excuse me? No, you're not there. You're not going to do a damn thing. Look at what's happening with the EPA. The EPA, folks, hello. Where do you think some of that 2.5 billion rounds of ammunition went? The EPA is now grabbing land. All right? Jeez. Even the FBI is in on this. Mark Dice put up a video. FBI plans to charge Bundy Ranch protesters with weapons violations. Yeah, I'd like to see that stick. It's not going to. From the MinorityReportBlog.com, increase in the use of triggering to suppress free speech at colleges. From 21stCenturyWire.com, Sandy Hook game changer, solid new evidence of a cover-up presented. Okay. Sandy Hook forensic evidence, AboveTopSecret.com. Going off into this direction, Kane TV, Herman Cain, remember him? CaneTV.com. Californians with Obamacare are driving to Mexico for cheaper, better health care. Yeah, they have some really excellent health care over there. Seriously. Now, here, I don't know, folks. I may take a break and just come back because I'm all flustered here. I got like 7 minutes to the bottom of the hour, so I'll just go there. Take a look at this. Here, let's use this as an example, okay? Let me grab one of these headlines here that I just read to you. Let's go to MinorityReportBlog.com. Increase in the use of triggering to suppress free speech at colleges. If you're not familiar with what triggering or trigger warnings are, you should watch the short video below. It's above this, what I'm reading. Triggering is a term in its current usage used to limit free speech. Triggering first appeared on liberal, progressive, feminist, and social justice blogs. The simple explanation is that liberal progressives of certain stripes started saying that certain words, phrases, movies, books, posters, and other forms of speech would trigger an involuntary response, including violent responses, in certain people, and therefore the speech should not be allowed. See how this can and is used to limit free speech? See how this can also be used to justify violent attacks against people who say something lib and progressives disagree with. If someone does not like what you are saying, a victim group can just declare what you are saying to be a trigger and use regulations and policies restricting trigger language to stop you from saying it. This will be a growing trend as liberal progressives look for new ways to control free speech and even free thought in the future. I suggest watching that video. It's only 4 minutes and 49 seconds long. Not right now. Watch it later. I want to make sure that people hear what I have to say next. So pay very close attention. It is important to understand the Constitution, the Bill of Rights prior to 1871. Look at all the amendments to the Constitution after 1871, and you will see that according to the federal government, you do not matter. In a corporation, what happens in a corporation? What happens in a corporation is that You go to work for them. You give your Social Security number. They track you. They track your time. They track your vacation hours. They track all that, right? Well, when did the Social Security card become part of your existence? After 1871, more specifically around the New Deal, 1933. Okay? See? The United States is a corporation, and you're a number in a payroll book. And your payroll starts, but you don't get any money for it until you retire, called Social Security. But every time you work, and you do work for a wage, part of that wage goes into that account, but the government kicks in a few bucks. See how that works? Bottom line, folks, you're paying for your own demise. Was there Social Security in the 1800s? No. Your great-great-grandparents had to scrimp, save, and stuff away all their money they wanted and needed to support your great-great-grandfather or your parents. Okay? And your grandparents, same way. My grandma shoved away all her money. She canned most of her food. I was talking about backyard gardening and all that. Yeah, shoved away all that food. Canned it. The only thing she went to the store for was, essentials. Sugars, flours, milk, that kind of stuff. Bread. She didn't really get a whole lot of bread. She made her own. Self-sustainability, folks. That's my point. Self-sustainability. And you people need to learn it, need to use it. And if your county or city comes along and says you can't grow a garden, tell them where the door is. And then, when you do that, go file a lawsuit. To say the city has no right to tell me what to do on my own property. Start filing lawsuits against your city councils. Start filing lawsuits. This is just an example of things that can be done. I'm not saying, hey, I'm not whipping you into an emotional frenzy to go do this. I'm just saying you can do this. Just go down to your courthouse, talk to the clerk, say, hey, look, here's what's happening, and I want to file this grievance and this lawsuit with a judge. See how much it's going to cost. Curiosity, man. Find out. If you can do it, you can do it. If not, well, figure something out. I find it odd. I find it very, very odd that people don't go to the courthouse to find out what the rules and laws are in their cities, to find out what law is, number one, unconstitutional, and number two, what law they think you're breaking. It's called homework, folks. Please do it. Because, what can I say? Email me, freeamericaradio@usa.com. freeamericaradio@usa.com. Go to the website, freeamericaradio.us. With her unique, fast-paced, witty sarcasm, Angel Clark brings you the news of the day with a creative twist. Monday through Friday, 5 p.m. to 7 p.m. Eastern, on radiofreedom.us. You can also listen to her live on the Liberty Radio Network at lrn.fm.
Lock it on to the best station on the net.
The Free America Radio Network. This is Reverend Wayne S. Pierce from the Free America Radio Network. Prepare yourself for the unexpected. Have an emergency food supply available when you need it. You never know when the next power outage or natural disaster will happen. Are you prepared when it does? Go to Free America Radio Network website and click on the Store tab and get your emergency food supply now. Go to freeamericaradio.us. A natural disaster could happen at any time. Be prepared. Go to freeamericaradio.us and click on the Store tab to get your emergency food supply today. That's freeamericaradio.us and click on the Store tab and prepare in case something happens. Listen to the Diana and Wayne's Grab Bag Potpourri Talk Show, Friday nights at 8 p.m. Pacific, 11 p.m. Eastern, right here on Spreaker.com.
Sharing the truth one fact at a time. This is the Free America Radio Network.
Hey folks, how you doing? Welcome back to the Views Expressed Live right here on the Free America Radio Network. Hello to those in the Spreaker chat. Yes, trolls be damned. Yeah, you know what I do with trolls? You really want to know? Let's just say this. It was a line from Dan Aykroyd in the movie Twilight Zone. You want to see something really scary? Yeah. I'll tell you what, man. I will tell you this. There's always going to be jackasses everywhere. Boy, do we have a lot of them in Washington, D.C., that's for damn sure. But anyway, go to Free America Radio Network on Facebook, if you would, please. Scroll on down. You'll see Sandy Hook Game Changer. Solid new evidence of a cover-up presented. If it all seems too unbelievable, it's probably because it is. The world was led to believe by U.S. media and government authorities that a mass shooting was carried out by yet another deranged lone gunman, only after reports had initially stated there was a second shooter on several CBS and ABC affiliates. This latter-day Oswald named Adam Lanza, who had no real motive, an aversion to shooting, so we were told at the time, and no one had actually seen in 3 to 4 years, and a gunman who is believed by some to have a different identity. As evidence emerged out of the boiler rooms of media halls, mainstream correspondents began selling the public on this latest tragic shooting in America. Not since Columbine had the corporate media been so fixated on an apparent tragic shooting, pushing the fear and death of it all on the 24/7 news loop. Because the case has now been classified by the FBI, it's hard to find any evidence of a mass shooting, but there seems to be more than ample evidence of a cover-up. But just a few brand new discoveries and key expert witness questions have emerged this week that could rip this event wide open. Washington's blog, which is at washingtonsblog.com, Wolfgang Halbig has the perfect combination of expertise to evaluate what happened to Sandy Hook Elementary School, or at Sandy Hook Elementary School. Law enforcement, Florida State Trooper, U.S. Customs Agent, education, teacher, assistant principal, current school safety expert trained by key personnel at over 4,000 U.S. school districts and 3,500 school safety officers. His conclusion after 10 months of motivated investigation, quote, "In my professional opinion, Sandy Hook was a scripted event in planning for maybe 2.5 years. Mr. Halbig's response is demand for criminal arrests of leaders involved in the Sandy Hook based on rational embrace of the public evidence," he explains in the interview. Law enforcement parked a quarter-mile away upon arrival. Why didn't they rush to the heart-wrenching emergency if it really occurred? No trauma helicopters were ordered. This is unheard of for an actual emergency. No paramedics were allowed in the school. This is unheard of. The officials refused to say who declared all 26 people dead. By law, this must come from a doctor. This refusal of so much basic information indicates lies and cover-ups. This is the fifth one on the list. Official narrative claims emergency personnel didn't find the school secretary and nurse after 4 hours of searching. Number 6, this event, in quotes, this event include a traffic sign lit with a message, "Everyone must sign in." Officials refuse any comment on this element that would be present for a staged event drill. Number 7, porta potties were on the site, again with no comment by officials and consistent with holding a staged event. The next one, no names were listed for the 26 children and chorus director at the 2013 Super Bowl event in honor of the Sandy Hook. The children resembled the alleged shooting victims. It's unimaginable to not list these names for such a huge deal. Next, no lawsuits filed by parents for negligence against school district. This is unheard of. A shooter with Asperger's would have poor motor skills and muscle tone. How did he carry all the gear and shoot with that precision? This combination is impossible to imagine. 2 homicide investigators threatened Mr. Halbig for making inquiries consistent with his professional duties to learn about this event for future school safety. He's a safety expert, guys. Okay? Newtown Public Schools won't return any calls. Mr. Halbig says this non-cooperation to contribute information for other schools' safety is unheard of. Next, the FBI classified the report on Sandy Hook. This has never been done before and indicates a cover-up of all the evidence that this was a staged event. Next, radio transmissions are consistent in tone and content for a drill, not an actual emergency. Okay. Now, wow. Get that out of there. Next, multiple weapons reported at a limited crime scene were never found. This is not credible. Law enforcement sent a kindergarten girl from the hall to stay at the crime scene of room 8 to be alone with dead bodies. This is a ridiculous claim that demands investigation and answers. Next, no parents viewed the bodies of their children. This is also unheard of. Next, no documents are being released via Freedom of Information Act requests. This is unheard of. Next, trauma services were never requested. This would never occur. Next, tearing down the school is consistent with destruction of evidence, given a huge gap between the official accounts and the evidence. Next, there's zero evidence that a biohazard company was contacted to clean the blood, body fluids, and officials refuse comment. This is impossible. Next, Mr. Halbig's inquiry of who installed the school security system has been met with silence. This is unheard of, not to get this information to improve other schools. Mr. Halbig has the professional expertise to conclude the official story is impossible and to demand arrests in order for the public to have the truth. Sandy Hook is one of perhaps 100 areas of such importance. The 2004 worldwide wave of action invites everyone's participation. Expose 1% oligarchs in the U.S. and elsewhere as obvious criminals, centering in war, money, and media, also in 100 other crucial areas. Cause their surrender through arrest and truth and reconciliation. Initiate true freedom for all Earth's inhabitants to explore ready breakthroughs in economics and technology and discover what it is to be human without psychopathic criminals who joke about killing millions, harming billions, and looting trillions. If you haven't heard it yet, listen to the incredibly revealing interview with school security expert Wolfgang Halbig here. There are suggested actions for your consideration how you can lead or participate in your own best way. And there's links below that as well. I'm going to make this short and sweet. My comment on the Sandy Hook thing, it's all a setup, folks. When you take an expert who was vice principal, school security expert, finding out how you keep schools, basically locked down so nobody gets in or out without, somebody seeing them. I take his testimony to be absolutely 100% credible. Okay? I know that some people have talked about crisis actors. By the way, there's sites, several sites on the internet where you can be hired as a crisis actor. You ever see that on your local news they have certain drills in certain areas and they're just toning or honing their abilities? The protective services are just, working and exercising and all that, right? You've seen those, haven't you? This is one on a massive scale. Sandy Hook was a false flag event. The shooting at the Aurora, Colorado movie theater, a huge false flag event. They plaster all these all over the news because it's neuro-linguistic programming. It's all within all of the news segments about these shootings. And by the way, each and every single person that has had, their names in the news, every single one of those, people that did the shootings apparently were on some type of psychotropic drug. Okay? So, if a person, and I could be wrong in this one, if a person is so hell-bent on destroying humanity, the first thing they would do is poison the food, poison the water, and poison the air. That's what they would do. And they would do it incrementally over time, but they would create the problem for people to have a reaction to the problem, then they would come back and give you the solution. Problem, reaction, solution. Hegelian dialectic. Think about that one, folks. I've said it before and I'll say it again. You are being screwed, blued, tattooed, lied to, up one side, down the other. They don't care. They don't care about you. They don't care about your children. They don't care about your education. They don't... Self-education. I mean, you're perfectly, and I hope you're aware of the fact that those schools you send your kids to are nothing more than governmental indoctrination institutes. Many, 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 many cities and counties are getting rid of Common Core because they know how bad it truly is. That's another thing I want to talk about, but that's later. You need to start putting pressure. You, the citizen, needs to start putting pressure on the city council. And if 100 of you walk into that city council meeting open to the public and you all start screaming like they did in New Mexico, where the citizens took over the council meeting, then that's what you have to do. And you demand that if they don't work for you and do the things that you want them to do, of course, you'll have to sit down and peacefully talk to them. Then if they don't do what needs to be done to make your city, county, state, whatever, wherever part of your state you live in, secure from any type of unconstitutional laws, then you demand their resignation. Bell, California, and Maywood, California, these people there were found to be corrupt. And they were jailed. Okay? The city councils in those two cities. It's going to take we the people to stand up and start kicking doors down and demanding that our officials do something. If not, we'll take matters in our own hands like they did at the city council meeting in Albuquerque, New Mexico. I mean, think about it. Think about it. I don't know why people want to argue with me when it comes to being responsible for your cities. Folks, you work there. Hello? How can you not be responsible, for what happens in your city? You're a store owner. Something happens in your store, that's going to affect your neighboring, friends in their stores and in their neighborhood. Okay? Cause and effect, folks. Albuquerque residents attempt citizens' arrest on police chief. Protests against police brutality cause rowdy city council meeting to end with attempted citizens' arrest of controversial chief. Albuquerque, New Mexico. You heard of that? Where that one homeless guy was shot and murdered for no apparent reason whatsoever? It's the same type of crisis they're having or had down in Bunkerville, Nevada with the Bundy Ranch. Pete Santilli called 911, told the sheriff get out there because he wanted an investigation done on why the BLM had backhoes in a dump truck. The sheriff did nothing. That would be Douglas Gillespie in Clark County in Nevada. Nothing, didn't do a thing, didn't lift a finger to come out and protect those protesters. And now the FBI wants to investigate and charge the protesters with weapons violations? No, folks. No. I stand with the Bundys. I stand with the people out at is it Blanding, Utah? I stand with the United States of America prior to 1871, and I stand on the Constitution. Either run this country by the rule of law of the Constitution of the United States of America prior to 1871, or pack your damn bags and get the hell out. Because I'll tell you right now, we the citizens now indict the criminal elements in Washington, D.C., period. That is on record now. You don't like it? Tough. The Constitution that I believe in, that I stand by, and that I pledge to protect against enemies foreign and domestic, I take that pledge very seriously. And you law enforcement personnel, you better understand one very important thing. You took that oath too. And if you violate your oath, you violate your integrity. You really want that on your conscience? I don't think so. Now, there's a lot of things that we can do. We can come together peacefully and sit down and talk about this stuff. We can look at what avenues we have before us to get rid of the criminal elements out of Washington, D.C., in any city that you live in the United States of America. And you constitutional sheriffs out there, there's over, what is it now? Last count was over 400 constitutional sheriffs that now say, or have said in the past, in this past year, that they are not going to even look at or even enforce any unconstitutional law coming out of Washington, D.C. Over 400 constitutional sheriffs. I'll tell you what, it takes balls to stand up for what is right. It takes a lot of guts. But I don't see too many people having them. James Neighbors of OverpassesForAmerica.com. Brian Lang at LiveTruthRadio.com. Pete Santilli at the Guerrilla Media Network. I don't know too many people that are going to stand up, speak out, and get involved like Brian Lang says. I applaud you, Mr. Lang. Virtual high five to you, my friend. There's a lot of things coming down the line. Let's just say a little bird told me. I know people in California are wondering, why is there military hardware on the train cars going through California north? Huh? And this is not just in California. I've seen them all over the place. You know, YouTube videos I've seen from various parts of America. But I got to tell you, there's always going to be someone that's going to say, no, everything's fine. You guys are liars. It's conspiracy theory. Why are you fear-mongering? Those people are complete idiots. They always have been. They always will be. Oh, I've had somebody tell me, but that's their view. You know, you have a view, that's their view. Yeah, but when you confront them with the information, they just clam up. They stick their head, you know, like a turtle into their body. They walk away. Because they don't like the truth. They don't like the facts. They don't like people breaking their little idealistic little world that they created for themselves. They're so self-deluded by the preconceived ideas that they have. Pfft, it's a wonder that they can even tie their shoes in the morning. It's a wonder they even have the energy to do anything with as much energy as they're using to try to deny everything going on around them. Ooh, getting deep there, huh, folks? I don't know. You tell me, folks. You tell me. FreeAmericaRadio@USA.com. You tell me. FreeAmericaRadio@USA.com. Tell me what's on your mind. Tell me how you are functioning around people who just don't have a freaking clue. I've said it before, and I'll say it again. I'll say it more and more and more. I'm done with stupid people. You want to try to tell me I'm wrong? You better have the information on the table. As a matter of fact, take the information I've given you and go look it up. Oh, wait. You're going to return with stuff that's going to contradict everything, claiming that it's true. Well, I already got that. I got that game out of your playbook. There's nothing you can do. But if you're going to contradict me, you better prove yourself right, and you better do a damn good job at it, because I'm going to shoot every single theory you have right out of the water. And if I'm wrong, I'm wrong. If I've overlooked something, I've overlooked something. You know why? Because I don't know everything, and I don't claim to know everything. I don't want to know everything. I would be bored because there wouldn't be anything else to learn. So bring it on, Mr. Naysayer, Mr. far-left liberal. I was going to say a word there, but I'll keep that to myself. You gun-grabbing, pansy-ass little biatch. You think you got something on me? Bring it. Don't sing it. You think that life revolves around you? Have you looked around? Seriously. You can email me at freeamericaradio@usa.com. freeamericaradio@usa.com. You can go to the website at freeamericaradio.us if you're not already there. You can also listen to the show on wakingupthemasses.com. You can also listen to it on 1610 AM in the Chickamauga, Georgia area. You guys are great out there, man. What's the analytics? Tell me how many people are listening to me out there. All right? I want to know what's going on in your area, so please email me. FreeAmericaRadio@USA.com. FreeAmericaRadio@USA.com. I'd like to know. I really would. So it's okay. Email me. You can catch this show Monday through Friday, 4 p.m. Pacific, 7 p.m. Eastern, right here on the Free America Radio Network. You can also catch my other show, the Wayne S. Pierce Show podcast. I sometimes do it live, but I've been recently doing podcasts and uploading them to Spreaker. So you can catch that, the Wayne S. Pierce Show podcast on Spreaker.com, or go to thewaynesPierceShow.weebly.com. You can also email me with any questions you have. No question is off limits. Ask me anything you like. If I don't know, I will tell you I don't know. I don't mind. Tell me what's on your mind. Hey, folks, I'm going to get out of here. Come catch me tomorrow at 4 p.m. Pacific, 7 p.m. Eastern, right here on WakingUpTheMasses.com, FreeAmericaRadio.us, and on 1610 AM in the Chickamauga, Georgia area. We the people have the power, for we are America.